Okay, so just a review from the last video. So this is a object-oriented programming video about the absolute basics of object-oriented programming. The concept is that object-oriented programming really mimics what we do in real life. In real life, we already divide how to accomplish a task by collecting objects and using the functionality of that object. So in real life, the objects that we use are grouped according to functionality. Okay, so objects that are similar provide similar functionality. You can't use the functionality of that object unless the object first exists. This is a programming specific one. Objects must have unique names. So the terminology we're talking about is instantiation, or instantiate, or to make an object exist before you can start using the functionality, the methods and behaviors of that object. The object itself and the classes. Classes are like the blueprint or the design that makes the object. And of course we're talking about what the object does, the functionality, the behaviors or the methods. Alright? So we talked about if we wanted to eat pancakes, we need several objects in order to make that happen. We need to use a knife object, a fork object, and probably a plate object. And those objects provide us functionality related to itself. The fork could poke, scoop, and move something. A knife could cut and spread something. Alright? So we use related functions. In order to accomplish the task of eating pancakes, we collect and we use the objects that are going to give us the functionality we need, the behaviors and methods we need to accomplish that task. Okay, we said here the task of a science report might require the use of these objects here. You know, a pencil object, camera, computer, scanner, and printer object, and the related functionality of all those objects. We said that an object can combine, one single object can combine related functionality. Pencils can write, and related to writing is pencils can also erase. Okay, a watch might be a clock, and it might also be a stopwatch, and also could be alarm, could be a calculator, could be all those different things. And a cell phone, of course, combines the functionality of many different things. However, in real life we don't combine unrelated functionality with unrelated objects. So, for example, you would never see, and it's absolutely ridiculous to give an example in real life, because you would never see, for example, a cell phone with a built-in eraser. Okay, those are two separate functionalities related to two completely separate objects. They should not be in the same object. And just like in programming, we have a main program, a problem that must be accomplished, and then we include and we create or include classes that have the functionality, the behaviors and methods that help us to accomplish this task. Alright? These are classes that we need to create the object, and once we create the object, we can use the object to solve a problem. Okay? Just like in real life, if I don't have a pencil, I can't use the functionality. In programming, if I have a class but I don't have an object, then I can't use the functionality of that object. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a blank screen, and I'm going to walk you through a very basic hello world function, or hello world object oriented programming example. So I'm going to open Eclipse, and again, when you're opening Eclipse, you want to point to your local workspace. You should have a webs folder. Yours will look different than mine. Yours will be like Z webs or something, and then of course webs is where you if you look at my webs, okay, my webs has many different examples. Yours will be a lot simpler. Okay, and of course in htdocs, this is where we actually host test our website. Okay, so when we go to localhost, we can start to run our programs. We should have all that set up already. So set this to your webs folder and click OK. The first thing we're going to do in Eclipse is we're going to start a new project. So I'm going to File, New, PHP project. I'm going to call this one Hello World Basic 3 or something. Okay, and finish. So here I see my project. Now at this point here, we're going to open this, and I'm going to right click this. I'm going to go New, PHP file, and I call this one Hello World _ oop. That's it. And then what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to right click this. I'm going to go New Folder and create a class folder. Okay, and call this one just simple CL for class. Alright. Inside the class folder, I'm going to go New PHP file. I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call this one class Hello World. Class Hello World. That's simple. Okay, I'm not using this. I'm going to close this off. I'm going to drag this over this side here. Alright, so we start with the main program, and again, looking at this, this is what we want here. We start with the main program, so this is my main program. So in my main program, what I'm going to do is I first need to include this class. Okay, so in here, I'm going to go include. I'm going to use include once. Alright, and then I'm going to open bracket quote. Sorry, include once, open bracket quote. Alright, I'm going to go class, that's the name of the folder. I'm going to go / CLHW.php. Alright. So what I've done here is basically I linked these two files. You see here that I used the include once, alright, and then CL is the name of the folder, and CL HW.php. Sorry, it's right there. Okay, CL HW.php is the name of the file. Okay, so and then have my end here. So now that I have that, maybe I'm going to add a comment here. So I'm going to go include related classes. Alright, so this is the main program. So I'm going to work on now is I'm going to work on the class. I'm going to have a behavior, a function, or method in it called out HW. So in here, what it's going to look like is, first of all, do that and have the end part. Okay, now this is the class file. Okay, so this is this class file. This is this class file here. So what I'm going to do is going to go class, and I'm going to call this one CL HW.php. Now or HW. Okay. Now I don't have to give the class the same name as the file name, but it's a good habit to get into. I would recommend that because other languages force you to do that. And then at the end here, I'm going to go end class. All right. So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go public function, okay, out HW, two brackets open, and then in here I'm going to do something very simple. I'm going to go echo hello world. All right. So this step is new here. So within this class, okay, this class is going to do one thing, and it's going to output hello world. All right, and just like I said in here, you know, I can only use a pencil. All right, when a pencil exists. Now there must have been some kind of a schematic, some kind of a drawing, or some kind of a blueprint that in which a pencil is made. All right. Must be something that it's some sort of instructions. Now I can't use those set of instructions. It's just like, you know, if you have a house, you have a blueprint to make a house, you can't live in the blueprint. You use the blueprint to create a house object, and then you can use the house object, but you can't use a blueprint, right? So in the case of here, okay, this class is a blueprint. I can't use it. All right. So in order for me to use this, I can use a blueprint to create an object. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make an object exist. Alright, so in here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go I'm going to call this one output, okay, equals new. All right, CL, and you see here that it already comes up for me. All right, just like that. So in this line here, what I'm doing is I'm instantiating a new object based on this class here. All right, so I'm instantiating a new object. The object is called $out. It's called out. I'm instantiating a new object based on this class here. Okay. So why don't I add a comment here? I'm going to go create a new object. All right. So now that the object exists, it physically exists. Now I could use the functionality. Now in this case here, this object only does one thing. Okay, it adds echo hello, and echoes hello world. So now I'm going to use this object. Now that it exists, I'm going to use the functionality of it. So here's how you do it. With $out. Okay, you're going to dash and then the that bracket symbol, and you can see that my functionality already exists right there. And there you have it. Okay. So that's how you do it. This is the very basics in object-oriented programming. Okay, is I create my main program. Okay, I create my main. I create my main program. All right. And then inside my main, I create my class. And keep in mind that a class is not an object. Okay, I have a class. I can use the class to create an object, which is what I do here. This line here uses the class to create a new object called out. Once that object exists, I can use the object I can use the functionality, the method or behavior of the object. What that method or behavior does is defined right inside of here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is let's go to Dreamweaver. Okay. And I'm going to open up my index page, and you see here that let's see, here we are, basic 3. So here's my page. So I'm just going to link it to, let's see here. Okay, now I'm going to link it right down here. So I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to take this, drag it up here. Okay, linked it. So I'm going to select this folder here, hold down Control, select my index file. I'm going to upload it. Alright, and I'm going to get back to here, my stuff, refresh the page, come down here, and here's my program, and there you have it. Hello world. Okay, so hello world, object-oriented programming style. Okay, so that's it. That's how you do it. But what we're going to do in the next little video is we're going to add a second class to this, because you'll notice that we're going to add a second class to this program, because you'll notice that in here, okay, if you look at the coding behind it, there's no head, body, title tags, HTML tags, nothing like that. So we need to convert this into a proper HTML document. Okay, so we'll use object-oriented programming to do that.